we see a brave young king named Willard, who is well loved by his people. While on a routine patrol in the forest, he discovers the helmet of an enemy soldier. He realizes enemy forces have infiltrated his lands. He suspects the helmet belongs to a spy, planning an attack. Willard believes the spies are hiding on the highest mountain in his kingdom. He and his men decide to go there immediately to stop them and prevent any message from reaching the enemy king. Shortly after, they enter a cave on the mountain to find the enemies. However, they are attacked by a vampire. They try to fight, but the creature quickly overpowers them. Willard's companions are dealt with. He survives only because he retreats into the sunlight, which the creature cannot enter. A terrified Willard escapes back to his palace. Upon returning, Willard immediately meets the kingdom's priest. He asks about the creature, admitting he's never seen anything like it. The priest explains that a monster lives on that mountain, a dark entity that feeds on blood. He says this creature is the one that took Willard's companions. The priest adds that the creature was once human, but was tricked by an evil force, transforming him into a vampire. He has been trapped in that mountain for years and will remain there until he can pass his powers to someone else, turning them into a vampire. Only then can he be free. So far, he has not found a suitable person. After hearing this, Willard tells the priest to keep it secret, fearing panic among his people. He believes some things are better left unknown. Some time passes. Willard is dining in his castle with his men when an enemy soldier arrives. The enemy country is Turkey, a powerful empire. They collect an annual tribute from all the smaller kingdoms, including Willard's wash. In exchange for this payment, Turkey agrees not to attack them. They must provide gold and silver coins to prevent an attack from Turkey's massive army. Willard reluctantly hands over the coins. However, the envoy takes the tribute and makes an additional demand. They also require boys to be trained and conscripted into the Turkish army. Willard refuses, stating he cannot give away his people. He argues this tradition ended long ago. He tells the envoy to take the coins and leave, saying he will speak to the Sultan himself. Later, Willard meets with the Turkish Sultan, Mehmed. Their negotiations fail. Mehmed insists on taking 1,000 boys and specifically demands Willard's own son among them. Willard is enraged by this. When Turkish soldiers arrive to take his son, he acts out in anger, striking them down with his sword. He eliminates the soldiers who came for his son. A close advisor rushes to him, asking what he has done. The advisor warns that by dealing with Mehmed's men, he has invited retaliation. Mehmed will surely attack and destroy them all. Willard, however, insists he will find a way and knows how to protect his kingdom. He then mounts his horse and rides back to the mountain with the vampire. He reaches the mountain, enters the cave, and meets the vampire, asking for its help. Willard needs to protect his country, his friends, and all the women and children. The vampire, in turn, has been searching for someone brave and skilled to whom he can pass his powers, freeing himself from the curse and becoming human again. Both of them need each other. The vampire cuts himself, offers his blood in a container, and tells Willard to drink it. He explains that by doing so, Willard will gain all his powers and become strong enough to defeat any army, no matter its size. The vampire also makes a deal. He explains that if Willard becomes a vampire but resists the urge to drink human blood for 3 days, he will turn back into a human on the 4th day. However, if he gives in and drinks human blood within those 3 days, he will remain a vampire forever, and the original vampire will be set free. Willard, desperate to save his kingdom, accepts the deal and drinks the blood. He transforms and immediately faints. He awakens later in the forest, discovering he now possesses new, incredible powers. He can move incredibly fast. Swarms of bats seem to obey him, and he can use them to harm his enemies. Willard returns to his castle just as a large force of Turkish soldiers begins their assault. Willard emerges alone to face them. There are thousands of Turkish soldiers, but Willard fights them all single-handedly with his weapons and new abilities. In a short time, he defeats the entire force. When he returns to the castle, his men are stunned and ask how he did it. Willard simply tells them not to ask him about it. So far, no one knows Willard's secret. Soon, word reaches the Turkish Sultan Mehmed that his army of thousands has been wiped out by Transylvania, Willard's kingdom. Mehmed is unfazed and orders a new army of 100,000 to be prepared, intending to attack and wipe them out completely. As they are planning the attack, Willard sends the remains of the defeated Turkish soldiers back to Mehmed. Seeing this, Mehmed becomes even more enraged and orders his army to march on Transylvania immediately. Meanwhile, Willard's wife discovers his secret. He tries to calm her, explaining that he can be free from the curse if he just waits 2 more days without feeding on human blood. To keep them all safe, he tells his wife and all his people to take shelter in a monastery far from the castle. He does this to keep them safe, both from the enemies and from himself. He tells them to go ahead, and he will join them at nightfall, as he cannot travel in the daylight. While Willard's people are traveling to the monastery, they are ambushed by a group of Turkish soldiers. Many people are struck down in the attack. Just then, Willard arrives and begins to eliminate the soldiers one by one. The few Turkish soldiers who survive flee back to their camp. News spreads like wildfire among the Turkish army that Willard is a dark creature, a vampire, and that he is impossible to defeat. Fear grips the Turkish army, and the soldiers no longer want to face Willard. Mehmed knows that if his army's morale breaks, he will lose. To remove their fear, Mehmed orders his soldiers to be blindfolded, so they cannot see the creature they are fighting, and will not be afraid. He then sends them into battle. Inside the monastery, the priest figures out Willard's secret. Slowly, his own people also realize he has become a vampire. They turn on him, filled with hatred. They trap him in a room and set it on fire, trying to destroy him. But because he is a vampire, the fire does not harm him. He heals his injuries and emerges. He becomes furious with his people, yelling that he chose this path to protect them. He became this creature and sacrificed his family for their safety, only for them to betray him. His wife approaches him, calms his anger, and reassures him that everything will be all right. But as they talk, time passes, and the Turkish army, Mehmed's soldiers, invade the land. The soldiers approach the monastery. Willard knows his few remaining men cannot fight such a large force. He notices that the monastery is home to a large number of bats. Willard uses his powers to command the bats, unleashing them as a massive swarm upon the enemy army. This causes chaos and deals with many soldiers. Willard himself then joins the battle. Meanwhile, a few of Mehmed's soldiers sneak into the monastery. They find Willard's wife and son. The soldiers strike his wife down and capture his son. Willard sees his wife falling from the high walls of the monastery and leaps to save her. He manages to catch her, but she is gravely injured. His wife is dying. She urges him to drink her blood, explaining that if he does, he will keep his vampire powers permanently and will be able to save their son. This is the 3rd and final day of his curse. If he drinks her blood, he will remain a vampire forever. Unwillingly, and in great sorrow, Willard finally bites his wife and drinks her blood. In that moment, he becomes a vampire forever. This also means the old vampire in the mountain is now free, as the deal was fulfilled. Willard then goes to his own dying companions and offers them his blood, turning them into vampires as well, so they can become powerful and defeat the enemy. They all attack the enemy. Willard uses his new immense power to summon a dark storm, using bats and clouds to block out the sun, turning day into night. His new vampire army begins to overwhelm the Turkish soldiers. Finally, Willard and Mehmed come face to face. Mehmed knew Willard was a vampire, so he had filled his tent with massive amounts of silver coins. He knew that vampires are weakened by silver. Because of this, Willard's powers are diminished inside the tent. After a difficult fight, Willard manages to defeat and eliminate Mehmed. He then rescues his son and brings him outside. He asks his companions if any of his people survived. They reply that no one is left except for his son. This implies that his companions, now vampires, want to feed on Willard's son. Willard realizes his mistake in creating them. As one of the new vampires moves toward his son, Willard strikes his own companion down, impaling him on a spear. Seeing this, the other vampires back away in fear. The priest arrives, and Willard entrusts his son to him, telling him to take the boy to safety. It is still technically daytime. Willard had only used his powers to block the sun with clouds. Willard then uses his power one last time to clear the clouds away. The sunlight breaks through, and all the vampires, including Willard's companions, begin to burn and perish. Willard himself is also caught in the sunlight and appears to be destroyed along with them. Willard's son is made the new king of Transylvania. In the final scene, we see the priest approach Willard's burnt body and offer him his own blood. Because of this, Willard is revived,